everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm just going to be going over some information and some questions that I had about my hike up Kilimanjaro and all about my summit. So a little bit of information: I did the Mashame 7-day route. One of the questions I got asked is what company I went with. I went with Can Do Adventures, and yes, I would recommend them. The whole experience was incredible. The guides had so much knowledge, they cared about every single member. We only had about 10 people in our group and we all summited. Private bathroom, aka the Wi-Fi tent, which was actually really nice because they do have bathrooms in Kilimanjaro, but if you're not used to drop toilets, it's going to be a bit of a shock to you. So it was nice having our own little private portaloo just for the members of our hike, and that was cleaned regularly, that was kept really nice, so that was excellent. We again had a private cook who cooked all meals for us, and we had 4 guides with us during the trek and they were all incredible. Every time someone got ill or someone wasn't feeling well, they were straight onto it, grabbing their stuff off them, making sure that they were okay. Like, it was just a really good company. Everything was running so smoothly. All the pickup, all the airport transfers. I actually did a safari with them afterwards as well, and that was incredible. Another thing about them, which they definitely need to put on their website and advertise more, which we all said, this is like incredible and it made such a difference, was where they camped on base camp. So you have base camp and then there's a higher base camp. With Can Do Adventures, you actually stay at the higher base camp. It means you don't have to walk an extra hour and a half up a very steep rocky surface in pitch blackness, and it also would add to your summit days. So if you think it took us 11 hours to hike from that high base camp to get to summit, to get all the way back down, just think how long it would take you to get to the lower base camp. So that was one of the biggest pluses, and yeah, they need to put that on the website because it completely made a difference. Not a lot of companies get to do that and stay at the higher base camp, so it made a difference. It makes a difference. But yes, I highly recommend Can Do Adventures. Just incredible experience. I don't wish I went with any other company. That was just, everything was incredible. In terms of price, because this is something I've been asked a lot, I think it was a 4,500 USD. I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head, and I paid a while ago, so there's not really much going on there. Not that there's much going on there anyway. But I will put the price down here as usual so you can actually know how much it cost me, and that was including a 3-day safari. It's a lot cheaper if you don't do the 3-day safari, but also if you're in Tanzania, why not? So in terms of cost, that's not too bad because you are getting all your meals, all your transport, all your accommodation, and you're getting like all the information, the guides, the support and everything. So it is worth the money. So I just thought I'd also just give a little bit of a run through of what I did for training. So in terms of training, I actually started training, I guess you could say 6 months in advance, because when I went and hiked through New Zealand for 2 months, that was like my pre-training, getting my fitness up and making sure I can still hike. And then when I got back, I would just go on like maybe 1 to 2 walks a day. I would walk on the Stairmaster, and I'd make sure I could walk on the Stairmaster for about level 7 for about 20 minutes, and then I would also started bringing in some running towards the end of my training before the start of the trip. But yeah, you do need to make sure that you can walk for a long time, that your cardio fitness is there, and that maybe you've got a little bit of strength, because there will be areas where you will have to kind of lift yourself up and do a bit of climbing. I'm going to go through what it's like climbing the mountain. So a bit of a run through for what each day was like. So you would wake up, have breakfast, pack your stuff. While you're having breakfast, the porters and everything would be packing up your tents and that, and then you'd come out, everything would be done, which is incredible. And then you start walking, and on the walk you'll have a lot of stops. You usually hike until you get to a lunch spot. You'll have lunch, which is usually your campsite, or if it's been a long day, you'll have some sort of lunch box with you. You get to your campsite, you usually rest for a couple hours, and then you have dinner or happy hour first before dinner, which is popcorn snacks. That's what I have for Can Do. And then after dinner you go straight to bed and you repeat the day. You also do have 2 health checks, so you have a health check in the morning and a health check in the afternoon, just to check your blood oxygen levels, your pulse, and to see if you've got any headaches, nausea, if you're not feeling hungry, things like that. Signs for altitude, essentially, that they're looking for. So that is pretty much what you do in a day, and that is every day. And every time you get to camp, everything's already set up. Your porters and that have already got there and they've set everything up for you, so that's also incredible. Did you go to the bathroom? So there are some toilets on the track going up. They're drop-loos, they're quite disgusting. You will need to bring toilet paper too. Camp, we had our own private toilet, which I told you about before, and they do have the drop-loo toilets as well. Anything else in between those, you just kind of go off into the bush. The whole group waits for you, you do your business, and you come back and join the group. So if you can get toilet paper that does decompose, or you can bring a little baggie to put it in, do that. But you can't take a plastic bag on top of the mountain as well. So if you could get stuff that will decompose, that's probably the best idea, because that is probably an unfortunate thing, is there is quite a lot of toilet paper littered around the mountain. But yes, also going up on summit night, you just kind of go off into the dark, turn your head torch off and go, which is always interesting. And yeah, look, if you're not used to hiking, you'll probably see some things, that's all I will say, but you get used to it. It's all normal. It's like not having to shower the whole time. You get used to it, don't worry. So yeah, now we're going to go into the questions. These are questions people have asked me on Instagram. Do you think now you've done Kilimanjaro, will you try Everest Base Camp? Yes. So I'm actually doing Everest Base Camp later this year, and I'm also doing the Annapurna Trek as well, circuit. So yes. How was the food? Really good. So one thing I think a lot of people were worried about was, is there going to be enough food on this trek? And the answer is yes. You get fed so much going up, and you need to eat a lot. The higher altitude you go, the less your appetite is there. So unless you're a freak like me and you're just a hungry little grumbling every single day, so much that the other people from my tour would hand me like the plate of pancakes in the morning because they just knew I was going to like inhale them. Like it was an issue. I don't know what was going on there. You are burning a lot of calories off without even knowing it, because you are walking constantly for about 8 hours a day. But the food, so we had Little Man, who was our chef. He was excellent. We had a mixture of like pastas, we had pizza one night, we had stir fries, curries, stews, chips, fish. In the morning would be like pancakes, toast, baked beans, eggs, bacon, all your hot drinks. Lunch would then be like pasta, salads, stews, something like that, and then that'd be similar for dinner. You then also then did get given snacks, like we got little muffins, Snickers bars, juice boxes and stuff on a few days throughout the trek, which was all supplied by them. That was really good. The Can Do Adventures food, again, excellent. Next question is, was there anything you brought that you used to death? Not really. If you haven't seen my packing video, go and watch that, but pretty much everything that I took up, I ended up using. There wasn't anything I used to death. Probably maybe my noise cancelling earplugs, because they made a difference while sleeping, and I was one of the only people that had those, and I slept like a baby every single night. So if that's not telling you something, I don't know what is. And I again had the loop earplugs, which are linked in my Amazon shop if you want to buy them. They're quite cheap and they're excellent for traveling, camping, any of that stuff. Was there anything you brought that you didn't need? Yes, if you go and watch my packing video again, you will see that I only brought up one thing that I didn't need, and that was my crampons, because I thought it was going to be a bit snowy at the top, because I was the first hike of the season, so I brought those, didn't use them at all. What was the biggest highlight and low light of the trip? Biggest highlight was probably when the whole crew sung the Kilimanjaro song to us multiple times. That that is definitely an experience, and like they're all just really happy, and it's just the energy that they give is just incredible. And then also when you come down from the summit and your crew is singing for you again, and then they like clean your boots, they clean your backpack because you're really dusty, and then they give you juice as well. That even if you felt defeated after the summit, which some of us were, that just lifted your spirit. It was just like, I did this, I did that. And that was definitely one of the highlights. And of course summiting was a highlight. The unfortunate thing, which is my low light, was at the summit. Now this is two reasons. One is completely understandable. The other one, these people, I don't understand. When we got to the summit, you don't get long there, which I like to sit and kind of take in my surroundings and kind of be in the moment, be present that I've been there and I've done something. You always need to take like a step back, especially something like that you've actually achieved what you've just done. And you don't get that on Kilimanjaro just because you are hiking up about over 1,000 meters in elevation throughout the night. You can't really adjust to the altitude, and because it's so high up, they don't want to keep you up that high because you're very prone to getting altitude sickness. So you pretty much go up, you take your photos, like as a group and single, and then you head back down. I would have liked a little bit more time up there to kind of see everything, take photos and that, but also it was that cold, so I understand like why you don't really particularly want to be up there because it's freezing. So that was a bit of a low light because I didn't actually have it hit me until I was back in my hotel room and that I had actually climbed Kilimanjaro and done that. So yeah, that's probably my biggest low light, which is unfortunate, but I understand. So it's fine. I still did it, still happy, got some photos, so it is what it is. The other low light was when we were at the top there and us as a group were waiting for photos. There was another group which had just walked up, just got to the summit, and then they pretty much started demanding that they will get their group photos first. And you can understand, we were already waiting up there for like 5 minutes because there's groups in front of you and you know, it's just the polite thing to do. And they tried to push in front of everyone, and then like we were like, don't do that, they were just like acted all privileged about it. They entitled, that's the word. They seemed very entitled, and it kind of took away from the moment and pissed quite a few people off because it was just rude. And then when we were getting our photos taken individually, they were like going, come on, hurry up, you know, one's good enough, you don't need to look pretty, blah blah blah. And it was just fucking annoying. It just put a bit of a sour taste in quite a few people's mouths because it was just so fucking rude. Like, if you climb Kilimanjaro, don't be like that. We're all cold, we're all tired. You know, some people have a feeling the signs of altitude. Just suck it up. I'm sorry if people got there before you. As long as you're not spending 20 minutes taking fucking photos, even like anything longer than like a minute, I would understand. But my God, let people get their photos. Like, we just climbed 6 days to get there. I'm going to get a photo in front of the sign. So that was definitely a low light. Were there any times you just thought about giving up, but then kept going? I'm so proud of you. Oh, that's my friend. No, I'm, again, used to hiking long distances. I'm used to hiking for long hours of the day, and I've done some altitude training before I had done this. I had hiked up to 4,200 meters or something, so I wasn't too worried until we got past that level. But I wasn't having any issues at all with altitude. I wasn't having any issues with the walking. There was no sore muscles, nothing like that. It got to the point where when we were doing our health checks that my guide would just stare at me and go, and I would be like, and that was it. That's all he needed from me, because I was still eating, no headaches, sleeping like a baby. It was a bit weird actually now that I think about it. The only time I felt any type of mental challenge was when we were on summit night and my hands were so cold. So cold. Even with 2 pairs of gloves and hand warmers, they were freezing to the point that they were burning and they were aching, and because you're walking in dead silence going up, there was a moment where I just pretty much convinced myself that I had frostbite. I was 90% sure I was going to lose my hands. I didn't, obviously, but that was probably like the only mental thing. Describe the feeling, emotions you felt when you were reaching the peak. Again, because it was so rushed at the peak, it was very hard to take it all in. But once seeing the sign and realizing I was there, it was just pure joy, pure happiness. And if you know me, this has been something on my bucket list for so long, and I would love to do the 7 Peaks challenge. I probably never will because it's expensive and there's a lot of training that goes into it, and that's expensive. But I've always wanted to tick this because I know I can tick this, and I know I can tick another one off, and then half with Everest Base Camp. So just being able to do that was incredible, and it was probably one of the best feelings of my life. It just the sense of feeling of achievement, the sense of feeling that I've done this, the sense of just feeling really proud of myself. I don't even have the words for it. You can just see, hopefully you can just see from my face how I feel about that. Did you get altitude sickness? No. I was one of the only people in my group that didn't get any signs of altitude sickness. There was me and someone else who were at the top, and we pretty much were just like, it's like breathing normal air. We were also on Diamox, which I highly recommend you do take. If you do, you will be peeing a lot. Keep that in mind, and you do need to drink a lot on it. So yeah, remember that. Well, that is going to conclude this video, guys. Like always, if you like my videos, make sure you click the like button and the subscribe button, and make sure you stay tuned because there will be more adventures coming up.